Hi everyone, very welcome to my channel. I hope you're going to enjoy today's recipe that I'm going to show you. I'm really excited about it because it includes my favorite things, all the lovely vegetables. So I'm going to show you how to make an extra special cottage pie, and you'll be wondering, why is it extra special? Well, you'll need to wait and see why it's extra special. So in a minute we'll come back and we'll show you all the ingredients you're going to be needing. Okay guys, so what you need is you need some finely grated courgette, and this is half a courgette. Then we need 1 cup of finely chopped broccoli. Then I've got 2 kind of medium to large carrots grated. Then I've got 1.5 cup of finely chopped cabbage, 3 large celery stalks finely diced, half a red pepper and half a green pepper. And that's all your veggies you need for your cottage pie. Then over here I've got 400 grams of lean beef mince, so try to get something less than 5% fat. Then I've got 1 onion diced up for the mince. I've got 2 tablespoons tomato puree, 2 tablespoons mild mustard, 3 garlic cloves crushed, and that's everything for your mince mixture. And then for the cauliflower mash, I have got 1 medium-sized cauliflower finely chopped up. You can grate it with a cheese grater, or it can be a little bit chunkier than this because it doesn't have to be all this fine. I just do it so it cooks quickly. And then you're either going to need cottage cheese or quark, 3 large tablespoons of it. So you can use either one. I find the quark is working really well. It makes it very nice and creamy. This one is 0.2% fat, so really low in fat. And then I also add to the mash a little bit of mustard, so a large tablespoon of mustard, but this is optional. And the last ingredient you need is a bit of vinegar. This is apple vinegar. You can also use red wine vinegar. Okay guys, so you've seen this dish is packed full of veggies, so it is really good for you. But the other reason I love this dish, it is full of flavor. So when people tell me cauliflower mash is delicious, I used to think there is no way it can be delicious, but I've totally changed my mind, and now I absolutely love it. I think it's the best thing there is at this point. So in about 2 minutes we're going to be cooking. So just give me a moment to get ready. Okay guys, so I've got my pan ready here. I'm just warming that up nicely, and I'm not putting any oil in, so we're just going to put our mince straight in there. So we're not adding any more fat. So you can hear the pan is getting warm. So we just put the mince in. Spread it out a bit. There we go. And then while that's busy cooking now, I'm going to get ready here in a nice big saucepan with a lid. I'm going to just put 1 cup of nice hot water. It's just from the tap, but you can use from the kettle. And in here now, we're going to put all those lovely veggies. So it really doesn't matter which order. So we're going to start with the cabbage. And the carrot. There we go. It's actually really nice and colorful, all these veggies, and lots of different textures as well, which is great. And all your lovely vitamins, your good stuff. Previously, I've never really used celery in a cottage pie, but I think it works very well. And also the cabbage. I am new to having cabbage in my cottage pie, but I love it. I used to put mushrooms or some peas in it or some sweet corn. But with Dukan, we are trying not to use too many peas and sweet corn. So this is actually a lovely change. So I'm just going to give it a stir, all these lovely veggies. Give it a mix. Just look at that, it looks so appetizing. Here we go. So once you're happy, that's a little bit mixed, I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to turn the heat on here. And I'm going to just let that little bit of water boil, and it's going to steam the veggies till they are ready. So they cook quite quickly, about 5 minutes or something. And in the meantime, we are getting the same kind of thing ready. Again, another saucepan, and again, another cup of water. Same again. You can use a bit more or a bit less, but this one works for me. And then all that lovely cauliflower goes in here, and that's also getting steamed. So we'll just tip that in there. You'll notice I've not added any salt to the veggies or the cauliflower because I'm using a bit of mustard, and there is a bit of salt in the mustard. So we're trying to keep the salt low to stay healthy. So I'm just literally leveling that off a bit. And get the lid on, and we'll put that at the back here. And again, we're going to bring this to the boil and just steam it until it's cooked. So we can come back to our mince here, see what's going on. It's now ready to be stirred a bit. So let's just break it up. We want it to be no big lumps in there. There we go. And there's nothing added to this mince at the moment. No spices at all. So when it gets to this stage, I can see there's a little bit of wateriness coming out of the mince, which is fine. That's normal. And what I'm going to do is turn the heat up slightly to make that evaporate. And we are also going to add the onions. So you can fry your onions first if you want. You can do it this way, whatever you prefer. See that liquid is already evaporated. So it's just getting a bit of flavor now from the onion, which is great. And now I'm going to add that little bit of garlic. There we go. And the other thing I'm going to add now is a bit of mustard. There we go. And that tomato puree. So this will now give you lots of flavor. Now at this stage you can add any kind of herbs if you want to add a bit of herbs. Or if you can't have mustard for some reason or don't like mustard, you can add some spices. And now I'm just going to give this a bit of a stir. So the mince doesn't have to be extremely well cooked at this point because the dish is still going to go into the oven. So half cooked or 3/4 cooked is fine. Now you'll notice that this is quite dry, there's not a lot of liquid, but as soon as you add your veggies, it won't be dry at all. So we're going to just give it a little splash of vinegar. If you need to measure this out, I would say maybe 2-3 tablespoons, but it's really to taste. So add as much or as little as you like. Once the veggies have been added, we can give it a little taste. And now I'm going to switch this meat mixture off. We can have a look what's happening here with our veggies. That is steaming nicely. So we're going to leave that a few more minutes. And even this one is steaming nicely. You can give it a little stir, but now we will leave that and come back to it. So the cauliflower is now cooked. I'll show you with the masher. It's really soft, so you must be able to kind of mash it. Now, some people would just do that to make cauliflower mash, but I find it just looks like rice, cauliflower rice, and that's why I put it through the blender or the food processor briefly, just to blend it up. Now, just double check if you've got any liquid in the bottom there. You'll need to drain that off. So we'll drain that before we put that in the blender, but we'll need to cool this a little bit. You can't have it boiling hot in the blender. So we'll drain that and leave that to cool a bit. Then I'll show you what the veggies look like. Let's have a look here. So that's now cooked. So the vegetables, you don't want them to be totally soft and soggy because they are going back in the oven as well. So you just really want to cook them up for a short time. Let's have a look. Now in here is a tiny bit of liquid. You can drain your veggies off here again and reserve some of this liquid if you think your mixture looks a bit dry, or you can keep that in if you like a lot of juice and sauce in your cottage pie. So I'm going to drain some of that off now, and then we'll mix it with the mince. So now just mixing these two together, and we're going to put the lid on to keep it nice and warm. There we go. So this is now the bottom of our base mixture for the cottage pie. At this point, please taste your mixture, and if you will still want to add a little bit of vinegar, that's great. Or if you've got a bit of sugar-free ketchup you want to add in there, or other spices or seasoning. Here we go. So that looks good. And then I'm just going to put my lid on here to keep it nice and warm. And over here is our cauliflower draining. So I'm just letting that cool off a little bit before we blend that with the other ingredients. Okay, so this is now cooled off a little bit. It's not so boiling hot anymore. I'm going to spoon that straight into my blender. So yes, you can use a blender. I mean, I use this guy here for my smoothies and stuff. Or you can use a food processor, whatever you want to use, whatever works for you. So we're just putting all our cauliflower in there. It's a little bit of a messy business. Let's see. Oopsie daisy. And put it all in there. There we go. And now I'm going to add that little bit of mustard. A tablespoon is okay, or 2 tablespoons if you like. It's quite a lot of mash. The actual dish makes about 6 portions or even more, depending on the size of your portions. Now in here I've got some quark, so I'm going to finish that. I'll probably have a tablespoon and a half of this, and then I'm just going to have a tablespoon and a half of cottage cheese. But you can use either one, it doesn't matter. I like using the quark because it's already a bit smooth. So we'll just get a bit more cottage cheese. And again, it depends on how large your cauliflower was. If it was a very large cauliflower, you might need a bit more. If it wasn't that large, maybe a bit less. So let's have a look here. So we're going to close this now and plug it in. There we go. So I'll just pulse that a few times until it's nicely blended, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so it's all nice and smooth now. I'll show you what it looks like. Let's have a look here. So you just want to blend it enough so it looks like soft mashed potato. If you blend it too long, it will become a puree and it eventually turn into a sauce, and it's too liquidy. So don't do it too long. So that's great. I'm going to just taste it for a bit of seasoning now. Let's see here. That's lovely. That's creamy. It doesn't need any salt because I added the mustard, and the cream cheese really works. The cottage cheese, actually, you can use a bit of cream cheese if you want. Okay, so let's have a look at our dish that we're going to be putting it in. So I've got a dish here, an oblong oven dish. It doesn't have to have a lid on it, so any dish, it doesn't have to be oblong, it can be square as well. So it's roughly about 6 nice big portions. I'm just going to grease it very lightly with a little bit of oil. So the sides, there we go. As you can see, I'm not using a lot of oil. That's the beauty of brushing it on. You can also spray it on. There we go. And here's our mixture with our mince and veggies. I forgot to say earlier, if you are vegetarian, you can absolutely use vegetarian mince, soya mince in here, and it will work just as well. And if you don't want any of that, just veggies, then you can just make it with veggies. All right, so now we're going to spoon this into our dish here. Now when you make something like this, you probably want to fill the dish about halfway, not much more than that. So let's have a look here. We might have a little bit left over here. If we do, we can make another small one. Here we go. Because I'm not going to fill it much more than that. I'll take another dish and fill that up. So as you can see, this will probably serve 6 people. And over here, I would say at least another 2 portions. So you can use a dish for 8 people, and that would be perfect. So now I'm going to put our lovely cauliflower mash on top, our Dukan mash. So I'm just literally going to spoon it out of here. Here we go. Oh, that smells lovely. Absolutely lovely. Now let's see. I don't want to overfill it. So I'm just taking a normal spoon, and you can of course pipe this on and make pretty little patterns. I'm going to just make little indents in it and keep it very informal, just like you would when you make something at home for the family. Here we go. So you want to have a nice, maybe a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch of topping to make sure it covers everything nicely. Here we go. We can add a little bit more. It's always hard to get the bottom bit out of the blender. There we are. I'll just level that. Now you can do some patterns on there if you want. One of the very easiest ways to do it is just simply waves with a fork I'm sure you've seen that one before, but it just creates a little bit more interesting finish. And then what you can do is go across it a couple of times. There we go. Beautiful. And now to break the color better, I put a little bit of paprika on top. This is something my mother used to do, and it just gives it that little bit extra. You could also sprinkle a little bit of Dukan breadcrumbs on if you want at this point, or even some linseeds or sesame seeds. Gives it a lovely crunchy topping. Now what I've got here is just a little bit of mixed herbs. I'm just doing alternate rows of herbs and paprika, but you can do anything you like. So what we'll do now, we're going to put this in the oven at 180 for about a half an hour to 40 minutes, just so that the mince mixture and the cauliflower is nice and hot. You'll see the cauliflower will get slightly golden on top. So we'll put that in the oven. In the middle, and we'll show you what it looks like when it's ready. Okay, so now it's been in the oven for about half an hour, and it's starting to get a bit of color on top, and that should be ready now, guys. It'll be extremely hot, so you'll see the steam coming off it. We're going to leave that now just for a little while to cool off, and then we'll just serve a portion so you can see what it looks like once it's cooked. Hi everyone. Okay, so the cottage pie has now cooled off, and we're going to just cut into it to see what it looks like and serve a portion. So let's have a look. Okay, so you'll see when it cools off, it makes little cracks, but don't worry about that. It's just the moisture coming out of the cauliflower topping. So basically, if you divide this now into 6, I think it'll be quite a good size portion. So we still have that little bit of leftover from the filling, so you can definitely make 8 portions. Use a slightly smaller dish, a bigger dish actually. So here we go. So now I'm just going to try and lift it up. Let's have a look. Might be better with a spoon. So here we go. A bit of the fillings come out. So there we go. It looks absolutely delicious. Now I don't know what you normally serve these kind of dishes with when you're at home, but if you just want to liven it up a little bit, I would just put a little bit of leaves with it, like I always do. Something green. I've got just a little bit of carrot chopped up here, just for a bit of color. And I've got some lovely radishes here, and they just make it look really pretty. So there we are then. Okay guys, that's the end of our video now. I really hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I hope that you will try this recipe at home. Originally, I got the inspiration for this recipe from another recipe, and it is on the mydukandiet.com site, and it's from a Polish lady called Joanna. So I've changed her recipe quite a bit. I've added the tomato puree, I've added the mustard, and here and there, you know, a little bit different. And but originally it was her recipe to start off with, so the credits should really go to her. Absolutely lovely recipe. I hope you will try it. If you do, please share our video. give us a like, give us a comment if you've made it, and even send us a picture. So yeah, we would also be filming again in another few days' time, and we'll be doing a little series of special dishes that you can use for Thanksgiving and for Christmas and any kind of special occasions. But on my channel at the moment, you'll find a few of those recipes are definitely suitable for this festive period that we're going into. So please take care, and until next time, bye!